This is a demonstration of the Edwards Spectron 600D automatic portable helium leak detector. An oil-free diaphragm molecular drag pump for applications which demand 100% dry leak detection. One button startup, ready to test in less than 5 minutes. It is outfitted with an RS-232 port for connection to automated control systems and personal computers. It has a leak range of between 10 to the minus 4 millibar per liter second to 6 times 10 to the minus 11th millibar per liter second, and has both direct and reverse flow in a single unit. It is powered by 115 volts, 60 hertz, 10 amps. Let's take a look at some of the features. First, let's take a look at the rear connections. This is input power. This is your RS-232 port for communications, along with a printer port as well. You can hook up an external roughing pump if your applications requires it. Also, it is outfitted with an output for a chart recorder. This is an exhaust port, and this is your nitrogen purge input. Now we're going to take a look at the front panel. When we turn it on, it's first going to go through its own self-diagnostics, where it will test all the different switches and all the different lights that indicate the operation. We're going to let it warm up for a few minutes, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes when it's fully warmed up, and we'll demonstrate its operation. Okay, once the unit has warmed up, the ready light will be lit. Now there are two separate panels here. The first one is the standard mode, which is the user's manual for actually operating the system. And the second panel on this side is the service mode for setting up the system. I'd like to show you first the service mode. Great caution should be used when using the service mode, because when you're in the service mode, you can manually sequence and operate the system. You have to be very careful with that, because the vacuum system in here has to be sequenced in the proper order. However, if you did want to switch between helium and air, what you could do is you come around to the back. You must be very careful because there is voltage present. But you'll see a black switch right here. If you push that switch, that'll allow you access to the service manual, and you can manually operate the switch, the system. Once you make your changes to your calibration or your setup, you would hit that switch a second time. It would delay for approximately 15 to 30 seconds, and then it would allow you to use the system again. The only exception to that are these three keys right here: CalCheck, Cal, and Tune. It is suggested by the manufacturer that once a day when using the equipment, especially after it's been powered down for a while, that you do a CalCheck which will check to see if you're still within the calibration range of the internal calibration, and if the calibration is correct, then you can tune to your specific workpiece, and if that in any way is out of range, it would then allow you to calibrate specifically. The calibration key will not work on its own unless you first perform a CalCheck followed by a tune. The standard mode, which is the operator's side, is very simple to use. There is both manual and automatic ranging that allows you to change the different ranges. There's also a volume control for the audio and a zero. What zero does is many times when you have different workpieces on and off, and you may expose this to air in the room, even in that air of the room and around the machine, there is what they call background helium. This helium can also affect your measurement, and by zeroing out that background helium would not be part of your actual measurement. This is your test port here, and what we're going to do is I have a standard here. Now we periodically check these standards, and there is a depletion rate, and what this depletion rate does is every year that you use this, there's a certain amount that will deplete from the original value. This one has been rechecked. I personally did this about a year and a half ago, and it's 3.2 times 10 to the minus 8. So we'll put that up here, just like this. Clamp it. And now that we're going to pump down by hitting the start button. And we have a reading of between, oh, excellent, 3.2 and 3.3. This is another nice feature over here. Even though this is in the service mode, you can select these different indicators here. For example, this will also read out the leak rate that we are at. It'll also let you know that we're all the way down on the test port. But this one's important. This is your reject point. So let's say we wanted to lower that below that point there. It would then light the reject light, and if we go back, what are we at here? Let me double check. Our leak rate is it's about 3.5, 3.6. So let me go back to our reject point and make that 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, accepted still, and then one more. We're still good, but if we go below that, 3.6, 3.5, it puts on the reject light. So that's very handy to use too. I like that. It will also tell you some of the status of your high vacuum system, your internal calibration, and very importantly, your leak rate, and of course your reject point. It's very easy to use. It's a convenient portable unit that fits on most bench tops without a problem. And this completes this demonstration.